Good morning, grade 6. How are you all doing today? Okay, so it's teacher Ellie here again. Um, Before we begin with our lesson, I would like to remind you of a few things. First is our homework on page 54 of your textbook or your student book. You have answered number 1, part 1, but for part 2, we didn't get to answer. So I would like you to answer that. And also on your workbook, I remember that I had made you draw diagrams that represent each of the circuits using the symbols of the actual components that we have learned last 2 meetings. So those diagrams are related to our previous lesson about series circuits and parallel circuits. So make sure you have answered pages 31 up to 34 of your workbook. But don't worry, I know by now that I have sent the summary of the lessons that you have learned, the homework that I have given you, and also some of the questions that we have answered in your workbook and in your textbook during our class. So you wouldn't get confused with the pages that I am telling you right now. It's just a reminder. All right. So let's also have a recap of the lesson you have learned last time before we proceed to our new lesson, right? So last time you have learned about what? You've learned about how electrical devices can be added to a circuit. And there are 2 things I have mentioned, series arrangement and parallel arrangement. So yes, that is also what your homework is about. And also another one is how are batteries arranged in a circuit, right? So I hope you will be responsible to review those lessons, okay? And also the lessons before that. Okay, so are you guys ready now? So I'm going to share my screen now for our new lesson. Okay, hold on a second. Right. So this is what I am talking about. This is part 2 of page 54 for your homework that you're supposed to show today if you are doing this class through Google Meet. But since this is a clip, I just want you to do it on your own. Okay, let's proceed. Oops. You're not supposed to see the answers. So today we're going to learn about electrical conductors and insulators. So what do I mean by conductors and insulators? So you're supposed to find out by this experiment, right? So let me just go through it. So the materials that we will need are battery, electrical wires, and a light bulb. So let us find out which materials can conduct electricity. So by this we will also understand electrical conductors and insulators and the difference between the 2. So here we have a list of objects, and then we will write what kind of material are they and can it conduct electricity. So when you say conduct down here, you can say to allow something to pass through. So electrical conductors are materials that allow electrical current to flow through it, while insulators, on the other hand, are In contrary means it doesn't exactly not allow electrical current to pass through, but it is highly resistant to electrical current, or though insulators are best described as poor conductors. Okay, so without further ado, copper coin. So copper coin is, what kind of material is it? Huh? Think, what kind of material is copper coin? Think this material is metal, right? So in this part, this is on page 55 of your book. You have to write here metal. And can it conduct electricity? Of course, yes. Materials that are made of metal can conduct electricity. They are considered as good conductors. So write yes. Plastic ruler. Of course, it is made of plastic and it's non-metal. So the answer is no. Wooden ruler. Will it conduct electricity? Nope. Material, it is made of wood. Paper clip. How about paper clip? What is it made of? So paper clip is galvanized steel wires, they're huge wires that made into smaller pieces. So yes, steel wires are made of metal and material. So they're considered as good electrical conductors. So yes, it can conduct electricity. How about eraser? Now, what do you think eraser is made of? How do you think people make eraser, right? From its texture, it's very, rubbery. So usually those good, not so good kinds of eraser are made of rubber, synthetic rubber to be exact. So yes, synthetic rubber, it doesn't conduct electricity. So the answer here is no. Graphite. Now, from my research, graphite is, I think, and also it was discussed in your past lessons, right? Oh, it will be discussed in the next few chapters. I'm so sorry. So graphite is non-metal, but it has free electrons in its framework. So it only means that it can conduct electricity. Remember that electricity are non-charged, negatively charged particles, right? So it has free electrons too. So yes, it can conduct electricity. Now, aluminum foil. Of course, it is made of aluminum, and it is metal in material. So yes, it can conduct electricity. And handkerchief, material, it is probably made of, cotton or polyester, some type of cloth. So yes, so the answer is no. It doesn't conduct electricity. So what can we conclude from this experiment or from what I have just said? Materials that are made, I think the answer should be materials that are made of metal are electrical conductors, and for non-metallic materials are electrical insulators. So I hope you're paying attention, and you can just write it down there with your own words, as long as the thought is there. Again, for number 3, what can you conclude from this experiment? Metallic materials are electrical conductors, or materials that are made of metal are electrical conductors, and materials that are made of non-metal are electrical insulators. Okay, so let's move on. Long wires carry electricity from power stations to many buildings, such as our homes and schools, right? Most electrical wires are made of metals. This is because metals are electrical conductors. I have just mentioned that. What does it mean if metals are electrical conductors? So they allow electricity to pass through them easily. Yes, that is a better way to explain it. Look at this cable. Yes, electrical wire or cable wire. It is usually made of copper or gold, but I guess gold is too expensive. So usually you will, most often you will find them made of copper. And let's take note, all metals are electrical conductors. However, some can conduct electricity better than others. So take note of that all metals, all are electrical conductors. Here, most non-metals, but for non-metals, only most, it is not generalized. Most non-metals such as plastic, rubber, and wood are electrical insulators. So by now we will be able to define electrical insulators. They do not allow electricity, they do not let electricity to pass through them easily, right? So it doesn't mean that it is it really can't allow electricity. It's just that it doesn't allow electricity to pass through easily. Okay, so now the question is, why are electrical wires covered with a plastic or rubber casing, right? So the chargers of our phones, or the electrical wires coming from our television or refrigerator, or the chargers of our laptop, why do they have this rubber casing or plastic casing? Come on, think about it. If these wires are uncovered or do not have this plastic or rubber casing, we will get electrified by just touching it, right? And it is, of course, obviously dangerous. Okay, now we're going to answer. Okay, now we're going to answer together. And this is on page 57 of your textbook. Okay, we will be ending here. For you, like what I said, for you to do all those homework, and also all those homework in the workbook, and also those in the textbook from the lessons that we have discussed before. I want everything to be filled and to be complete before I meet you next meeting. Okay, so let's answer right now. So which of the following statements are true? All metals can conduct electricity. A. B. All electrical conductors are metal. C. Plastic is an electrical insulator. D. All non-metal are electrical insulators. So A. All metals can conduct electricity. Is it true? Yes. So let's see. That is true. So all electrical conductors, for letter B, all electrical conductors are metal. Remember that graphite is a non-metal that can conduct electricity because of its free electrons in its framework, right? So B is not the correct answer. For letter C, plastic is an electrical insulator. Is it true? Yes, it's true. So probably here the answer is A and C. And yes, it's A and C, because letter D, all non-metal are electrical insulators. So that statement is false. All non-metal are electrical insulators. For here, number 2, look at the electrical plug below. Now you will know which parts are made of electrical insulators. So what are the examples of electrical insulators? Like those non-metal materials such as plastic, rubber, wood, and etc. So is it A? This is A, B, C, and D. So we will only have 2 answers. Of course, letter A is not this part of the plug because this is probably made of copper or gold, right? From our electrical wires. And letter B here is probably plastic or rubber. So I think the first answer is B. Yes, B. And letter C, also, this is rubber casing for those smaller wires. B and C. So yes, the answer is B and C because letter D is already the electrical wire. All right. Grade 6, we're not going to proceed again to this topic. So I want you to be able to answer page 57 of your workbook because we've already answered it together. All right. And also for your new activity, new worksheet to do, open your workbook on page 35. Okay, I'm going to show you now. I'm going to share it to you on your screen so you do not get confused too. Okay. Share it with you on page. Okay, hold on a second. Let's cancel this one. All right. Sorry to keep you waiting. Here, let's look for, on your workbook, it's on page 35 for our lesson today. It's a supplementary worksheet that you have to do. Okay. All right. We have already answered this together, and this is the homework that I have given you as a task last time. Oops. Those should be the drawings. And now this is your activity for today. Answer this on your workbook. Electrical conductors and insulators, which is on page 35 of your book. So you're going to write if the object is an electrical conductor or an electrical insulator. So that is very easy. I hope you'll be able to do that. All right. So what else? So that's it. So our lesson for today is only about electrical conductors and electrical insulators and those objects. All right, grade 6. I hope you do all your homework and I hope you also review on your own. And please check the summary that I have sent in line because this will guide you to everything. All right. So see you again next meeting in Google Meet. Right? So take care and have a good day. Bye.